All glories to Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. All glories to Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Charitamrta Madhya Lila, Chapter 20, Text 145. Yamohaya charak charasya jagatas tete puranagamas tam tam eva hi devatam paramikam jalpantu kalpavadhi siddhante punar eka eva bhagavan vishnu samastha gama vyapareshu vivechana yati karam niteshu nischiyate. There are many types of Vedic literatures and supplementary Puranas. In each of them are particular demigods who are spoken of as chief demigods. This is just to create an illusion for moving and non-moving living entities. Let them perpetually engage in such imaginations. However, when one analytically studies all these Vedic literatures collectively, he comes to the conclusion that Lord Vishnu is the one and only Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is a verse from the Padma Purana. 146. Mukhya guna vriti kimva anvaya vya tirike vedera pratigya kevala kahaye krishna ke. When one accepts the Vedic literature by interpretation or even by dictionary meaning, directly or indirectly, the ultimate declaration of Vedic knowledge points to Lord Krishna. (147 through 148). Kim vidhate kim achaste kim anudya vikalpayat ityasya hridayam loke nanyo madveda kaschana mam vidhate vidhate mam vikalpyapo yate hyaham etavan sarva vidhartaha sabda asya mam vidam maya matram anudyante pratishthya pratishthidya prasidati. Lord Krishna said, "What is the purpose of all the Vedic literatures? On whom do they focus? Who is the object of all speculation? Outside of me, no one knows these things. Now you should know that all these activities are aimed at ordaining and setting forth me. The purpose of the Vedic literatures is to know me by different speculations, either by indirect understanding or by by dictionary understanding. Everyone is speculating about me. The essence of all Vedic literatures is to distinguish me from Maya. By considering the illusory energy, one comes to the platform of understanding me. In this way, one becomes free from the speculation about the Vedas and comes to me as a conclusion. Thus one is satisfied." These two verses are quoted from Srimad Bhagavatam 11.21.42 through 43. When Uddhava asked Krishna about the purpose of Vedic speculation, the Lord informed him of the process of understanding the Vedic literature. The Vedas are composed of Karmakand, Jnanakand, and Upanishanakand. One who analytically studies the purpose of the Vedas understands that by Karmakand, sacrificial activity, one comes to the conclusion of Gyankand, speculative knowledge, and that after speculation, one comes to the conclusion that worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the ultimate. When one comes to this conclusion, he becomes fully satisfied. 149. Krishnera svarupa ananta vaibhava apara Shakti maya shakti jiva shakti ara The transcendental form of Lord Krishna is unlimited and also has unlimited opulence. He possesses the internal potency, external potency, and marginal potency. 150. Vaikuntha Brahmanda Gana Shakti Karya Haya Svarupa Shakti Shakti Karyara Krishna Samasraya. The material and the spiritual world are transformations of Krishna's external and internal potencies respectively. Therefore, Krishna is the original source of both the material and spiritual manifestations. 151. Dasame dasamam laksham ashritas raya vigraham Sri Krishna kyam param dhamma jagadama namamitat. The 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam reveals the 10th object, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the shelter of all surrendered souls. He is known as Sri Krishna, and he is the ultimate source of all the universes. Let me offer my obeisances unto him. Purport. This is a quotation from the Bhavarta Deepika, Sridhar Swami's commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam 10.1.1. In the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a description of the Ashraya Tattva, Sri Krishna. There are two tattvas, Ashraya Tattva and Ashrita Tattva. Ashraya Tattva is the object, and Ashrita Tattva is the subjective. Since the lotus feet of Lord Sri Krishna are the shelter of all devotees, Sri Krishna is called Param Dhamma. In the Bhagavad Gita 10.12, it is stated, Param Brahma Param Dhamma Pavitram Paramam Bhavam. Everything is resting under the lotus feet of Krishna. In Srimad Bhagavatam 10.14.58, it is stated, Samasrita Yepada Palava Plavam Mahat Padam Punya Yaso Murarehe. Under the lotus feet of Sri Krishna, the entire Mahat Tattva is existing. Since everything is under Sri Krishna's protection, Sri Krishna is called Ashraya Tattva. Everything else is called Ashrita Tattva. The material creation is also called Ashrita Tattva. Liberation from material bondage and the attainment of the spiritual platform are also called Ashrita Tattva. Krishna is the only Ashraya Tattva. In the beginning of the creation, there are Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshai Vishnu, and Chirodakshai Vishnu. They are also Ashraya Tattva. Krishna is the cause of all causes, Sarva Karana Karanam. To understand Krishna perfectly, one has to make an analytical study of Ashraya Tattva and Ashrita Tattva. 152. Krishnera Svarupa Vichara Suna Sanatana Advaya Jnana Tattva Vraje Vrajendra Nandana. O Sanatan, please hear about the eternal form of Lord Krishna. He is the absolute truth, devoid of duality, but present in Vrindavan as the son of Nanda Maharaj. 153. Sarva Adi Sarva Amsi Kishora Sekara Chirananda Deha Sarvasraya Sarvesvara. Krishna is the original source of everything and the sum total of everything. He appears as the supreme youth, and his whole body is composed of spiritual bliss. He is the shelter of everything and master of everyone. Krishna is the origin of all Vishnu tattvas, including Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshai Vishnu, and Chirodakshai Vishnu. He is the ultimate goal of Vaishnava philosophy. Everything emanates from him. His body is completely spiritual and is the source of all spiritual being. Although he is the source of everything, he himself has no source. Advaitim achutim anadim ananta rupam adyam purana purusham navayovanam cha. Although he is the supreme source of everyone, he is still always a fresh youth. (154) Ishvaraha Paramaha Krishnaha Satchidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govindaha Sarva Karna Karanam. Krishna, who is known as Govinda, is the supreme controller. He has an eternal blissful spiritual body. He is the origin of all. He has no other origin, for he is the prime cause of all causes. This is the first verse of the 5th chapter of the Brahma Samhita. (155) Svayam Bhagavan Krishna Govinda Paranama Sarvaisvarya Purna Yandra Goloka Nitya Dhama. The original Supreme Personality of Godhead is Krishna. His original name is Govinda. He is full of all opulences, and his eternal abode is known as Goloka Vrindavan. (156) Ete chamsa kala pumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Svayam Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Vrdhayanti Yuge Yuge. All these incarnations of Godhead are either plenary portions or parts of the plenary portions of the Purusha avatars. But Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. In every age, he protects the world through his different features when the world is disturbed by the enemies of Indra. Purport. This is a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam 1.3.28. See also Adi Lila, chapter 2, verse 67. 157. Jnana Yoga Bhakti Tina Sadhanera Vase Rama Atma Bhagavan Trividha Prakashe. There are 3 kinds of spiritual processes for understanding the absolute truth: the processes of speculative knowledge, mystic yoga, and bhakti yoga. According to these 3 processes, the absolute truth is manifested as Brahman, Paramatma, or Bhagavan. 158. Vadanti tat tapa vidas tapam yaj janam advayam vaneti paramatmeti Bhagavan iti sabhyate. Learned transcendentalists who know the absolute truth call this non-dual substance Brahman, Paramatma, or Bhagavan. Purport. This is a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.11. Those who are interested in the impersonal Brahman effulgence, which is not different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, can attain that goal by speculative knowledge. Those who are interested in practicing mystic yoga can attain the localized aspect of Paramatma. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 18.61, Isvaraha sarva bhutanam hrideshe rujna tishtati. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is situated within the heart as Paramatma. He witnesses the activities of the living entities and gives them permission to act. For a further explanation, see Adi Lila, chapter 2, verse 11. 159. Brahma anga kanti tandra nirvishesha prakashe suryayena karma chakse jyotirmaya base. The manifestation of the impersonal Brahman effulgence, which is without variety, is the rays of Krishna's bodily effulgence. It is exactly like the sun. When the sun is seen by our ordinary eyes, it appears to consist simply of effulgence. 160. Yasya prabha prabhavato jagad anda koti kotish vasesha vas. Yasya prabha prabhavato jagaranda koti kotish prasesha vasudadi vibhuti binam tad brahma nishkalam anantam asesha bhutam govinda mari purusham tamaham bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is endowed with great power. The glowing effulgence of his transcendental form is the impersonal Brahman, which is absolute, complete and unlimited, and which displays the varieties of countless planets with their different opulences in millions and millions of universes. This verse is quoted from the Brahma Samhita 5.40. For an explanation, refer to Adi Lila, chapter 2, verse 14. 161. Paramatma yen ho ten ho krishnera eka amsa atmara atma haya krishna sarva avatamsa. The Paramatma, the Supersoul feature, is a plenary portion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the original soul of all living entities. Krishna is the source of the Paramatma. 162. Krishnaminam evahi tvam atmanam akhilatmanam jagaditaya sopyatra dehi vabhati mayaya. You should know Krishna to be the original soul of all Atmas, living entities. For the benefit of the whole universe, he has, out of his causeless mercy, appeared as an ordinary human being. He has done this by the strength of his own internal potency. Purport. This is a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam 10.14.55. Parikshit Maharaj asked Sukadeva Goswami why Krishna was so beloved by the residents of Vrindavan, beloved him even more than their own offspring or life itself. At that time, Sukadeva Goswami replied that everyone's Atma or soul is very, very dear, especially to all living entities who have accepted material bodies. But that Atma, the spirit soul, is part and parcel of Krishna. For this reason, Krishna is very dear to every living entity. Everyone's body is dear to oneself, and one wants to protect the body by all means because within the body, the soul is living. Due to the intimate relationship between the soul and the body is important and dear to everyone. Similarly, the soul, being part and parcel of Krishna, the Supreme Lord, is very dear to all living entities. Unfortunately, the soul forgets his constitutional position and thinks he is the only body, Deha Atma Buddhi. Thus, the soul is subjected to the rules and regulations of material nature. When a living entity, by his intelligence, reawakens his attraction for Krishna, he can understand that he is not the body but part and parcel of Krishna. Thus, filled with knowledge, he no longer labors under attachment to the body and everything related to the body. Janasya moho yam maham mamati. Material existence, wherein one thinks I am the body, and this belongs to me, is also illusory. One must redirect his attraction to Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.7 states, Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Chinayati Yasu Bharagyam Jnanam Chayad Ahaitukam. By rendering devotional service unto the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, one immediately acquires causeless knowledge and detachment from the world. (163) Athava bahunetena kimjatina tavarjuna Vistabhyadham idam krishnam ekam shinastito jagat. But what need is there, Arjuna, for all this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe. This is a quotation from Bhagavad Gita 10.42. 164. Vache Bhagavanera, Vache Bhagavanera, Anubhava Purnarupa, Ekai Vigrahe Tandra, Ananta Swarupa. Only by devotional activity can one understand the transcendental form of the Lord, which is perfect in all respects. Although his form is one, he can expand his form into unlimited numbers by his supreme will. 165. Svayam Rupa Tad Ekatma Rupa Avesha Nama Pratame Tina Rupe Rahena Bhagavan. The Supreme Personality of Godhead exists in three principal forms: Svayam Rup, Tad Ekatma Rup, and Avesha Rup. Purport. Srila Rupa Goswami has described the Svayam Rup in his Lagu Bhagavatamrita, Purvakand, verse 12. Ananyapek Shirad Rupam Swayam Rupa Sa Uchayate. The form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead that does not depend on other forms is called the Svayam Rup, the original form. This form is also described in Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishnastu Bhagavan Svayam 1.3.28. Krishna is the original form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That Krishna's form as a cowherd boy in Vrindavan is the original form of the Personality of Godhead, Svayam Rup, is confirmed by the Brahma Samhita 5.1. Isvaraha Paramaha Krishnaha Satchidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govindaha Sarva Karna Karanam. There is nothing superior to Govinda. He is the ultimate source and the cause of all causes. This is also confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 7.7, where the Lord says, Mataha Parat Taram Nanyat. There is no truth superior to me. The Tad Ekatma Rupa forms are also described in the Lagu Bhagavatamrita, Purvakand, verse 14. Yad Rupam Tad Ebhedena Sarupena Virjate. Akritya Yadhibhir Anyadrik Satad Ekatma Rupaka. The Tad Ekatma Rupa form exists simultaneously with the Svayam Rupa form and are non-different. At the same time, their bodily features and specific activities appear to be different. The Tad Ekatma Rupa forms are divided into two categories, Svamsa and Vilasa. Lord Krishna's Avesha forms are also explained in the Lagu Bhagavatamrita, Purva 18. Jnana Shaktyadi Kalaya Yatra Vishto Janardana Ta Avesha Nidhyayante Jiva Eva Mahatmaha. A living entity who is specifically empowered by the Lord with knowledge or strength is technically called Avesharup. As listed in the Chaitanya Charitamrta Madhya 7.11, Krishna Shakti Vina Nahe Tara Pravartana. Unless a devotee is specifically empowered by the Lord, he cannot preach the holy name of the Lord all over the world. This is an explanation of the word Avesharup. (166). Svayam Rupa Svayam Prakasha Dhuvi Rupa Svorti Svayam Rupe Eka Krishna Raje Gopa Murti. The original form of the Lord, Svayam Rup, is exhibited in two forms, Svayam Rup and Svayam Prakash. In his original form as Svayam Rup, Krishna is observed as a cowherd boy in Vrindavan. 167. Prabhava Vaibhava Rupe Dvividha Prakashe Ekavapu Bahu Rupa Yarche Haila Rase. In his original form, Krishna manifests himself in two features, Prabhava and Vaibhava. He expands his one original form into many, as he did during the Rasa Lila dance. 168. Mahishi Viva He Haila Bahuvirha Murti Prabhava Prakasha Ehi Shastra Parasiddhi. When the Lord married 16,108 wives at Dwarka, he expanded himself into many forms. These expansions and the expansions at the Rasa dance are called Prabhava Prakash, according to the directions of revealed scriptures. (169) So bhari adi prayase kaya vyuhanaya kaya vyuha haile naradira vismaya nahaya. The Prabhava Prakash expansions of Lord Krishna are not like the expansions of the sage Sobhari. Had they been so, Narada would not have been astonished to see them. (170) Chitram Bhataitat Ekena Vapusha Yogapat Pratat Griheshudvi Asta Sahasram Striya Eka Udavahat. It is astounding that Lord Sri Krishna, who is one without a second, expanded himself in 16,000 similar forms to marry 16,000 queens in their respective homes. This verse is spoken by Narada Muni in Srimad Bhagavatam 10.69.2. 171. Sehi Vapu Sehi Akriti Pratakyadi Base Bhavavesha Bede Nama Vaibhava Prakashe. If one form or feature is differently manifested according to different emotional features, it is called Vaibhava Prakash. 172. When the Lord expands himself in innumerable forms, there is no difference in the forms, but due to different features, bodily colors, and weapons, the names are different. 173. Anyecha samskrutatmano vidhina vititena te yajantitvan mayastvam vai mahu murtikam. In different Vedic scriptures, there are prescribed rules and regulations. There are prescribed rules and regulative principles for worshiping different types of forms. One is purified by these rules and regulations. When one is purified by these rules and regulations, he worships you, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although manifested in many forms, you are one. Purport. This verse is quoted from Srimad Bhagavatam 10.40.7. In the Vedas, it is stated that the one becomes many, eko bahu svayam, eko bahu shyam. The Supreme Personality of Godhead expands himself in various forms, Vishnu Tattva, Jiva Tattva, and Shakti Tattva. According to the Vedic literatures, there are different regulative principles for the worship of each of these forms. If one takes advantage of the Vedic literatures and purifies himself by following the rules and regulations, ultimately he worships the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 4.11, Mama Vartmanu Vartante Manushaha Partha Sarvasha. Worship of the demigods is in a sense worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but such worship is said to be avidhi purvakam, improper. Actually, demigod worship is meant for the unintelligent men. One who is intelligent considers the words of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sarva dharmam parityagam mamekam sharanam vraja. One who worships demigods worships the Supreme Lord indirectly. But according to the revealed scriptures, there is no need to worship him indirectly. One can worship him directly. Thus ends our reading for today. Our glories to Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj Ki Jai. Our glories to Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Vimalacharya Maharaj Ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Haribol.